This is a very ambitious summer reading list. Just want to say that right now. Hi everyone, Miss B. Hanley here, and today we are in front of a new bookshelf. So this bookshelf is my home bookshelf because summer has officially started. And I am at home filming some videos, specifically my reading plan for this summer. I have a ton of books that I really want to read this summer. Some of the books I have already read, and some of the books I'm in the middle of reading currently. And I just wanted to share with you some of my plans for this summer to keep up with my summer reading. And yeah, let's jump into it. Yeah, like I said, this is a huge list of books that I want to read over the summer. You know, I gotta be honest, there was a time when I used to read a lot of books. I think the highest number of books that I've ever read in a single year was 180, and that I was like at my reading peak then. Slowly over the years, that number has gone down, and when the pandemic hit, surprisingly, was my lowest reading year. I read the least amount of books during the pandemic, and I really haven't been able to like pick it back up. When I started teaching middle school again and teaching English language arts is when I slowly started to pick up my reading habit again. So this summer is my summer of reading. I'm going to try and get as many of these books read as I possibly can. So I'm pretty behind, I feel like, when it comes to like books and reading. Like, I'm not reading the newest stuff. I'm not reading 2022, 2023 publications. These are several years old, but I want to read them. Like, they've been on my shelf and they look great and I just want to get into them. So let's start with my first set. But these are all of the plays. I'm not going to go through these plays, but I'm just going to show you the stack of plays that I want to read this summer. Two of these plays I have already read because summer has started and I needed to get a jump start on it. And the rest of these, so yeah, these top two I have already read. I've read Our Town, which I'm definitely going to do a review on, and I read The Mind's Eye, again, going to do a review on. I think I'm going to do a review on all of the plays, like in one video, but the rest of the plays here, I still need to get through. Some of these are just straight plays. Some of these are pretty classical. Some of them I've read before, and I just want to revisit them. And some of these are musicals. Musicals I've already seen. Some of them I haven't seen. And some of them are actually like screenplays of plays that were made into movies. So yeah, I'm gonna make a whole separate video about this stack of plays that I'm planning to read. But because I like to read plays like alongside watching the performance, and a couple of these that's possible to do. Some of it's kind of not possible to do, but I figure since they're all really short, right? I mean, you look at them, they're like very, very short books. I feel like I can get through them in a day or so. So these two that I've already read, I got through in a day, about an hour and a half. So I feel like the rest of these are going to be pretty easy to read. Yeah, it's pretty ambitious, this whole stack of plays, but definitely I can finish this before the end of the summer. Like I said, this will be a whole separate video, play reviews, plays I've read. Hopefully I get through all of them. I'll let you know in the later video this summer with the ones that I've gotten through and maybe the ones that I haven't gotten through. These are the summer reading books that are on the summer reading list for 8th grade that I have not read. Most, if not all, of the 8th grade summer reading books I have read. Most of them I read last summer, actually, and one of them that's on this list right now is one that I'm going to be reading this summer again for the summer reading stream, and it's Nothing But the Truth. It's a play, so it kind of fits with the new role that I'm going to be stepping into, as well as being a 8th grade summer reading book. It's awesome. I really liked this play when I was reading it last summer. I listened to it on audio, which made it really engaging because the different characters were voiced by different voice actors. So I really, really enjoyed this. However, I looked up reviews. I did the bad thing. I looked up reviews of this play and people kind of didn't like it. People kind of hated it. I really like it though. Like, this was one of my favorites on the 8th grade summer reading list. It's got a very interesting and relevant message despite being written in like 1983. It's still really relevant today, I think, which, we'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about this one with the summer reading stream. It's worth the read. It's fun. It's short. Why not? Look out for the summer reading streams on my channel when I get to reading this one. The others that I plan on reading this summer that are on the summer 8th grade reading list, but that I haven't read yet, technically one of them I just finished right when summer started. Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I did just finish this. I've already filmed a reading vlog of it. You'll notice in that reading vlog that the shelves behind me are a little messy. That's because I've recently cleaned them off. So some of those, that reading vlog you'll watch, it'll be kind of like a time travel episode for me. But I did read Renegades right as the summer started. I enjoyed it. It's long. It's really long. It's probably close to like 550 pages. I kind of go through my reading process as I'm reading the book, sharing my thoughts as I'm reading the book, because I did a summer reading stream for Scythe last year, and that was a pretty long book, and I don't have time this year to do summer reading streams for all of the other summer reading books that I haven't read, so I just figured I'd do like a vlog style for each of these, and this is the first one that's going to come out. So if you're reading it, check out that video, see what I think. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. I'd be happy to hear your thoughts. Next one that's on the 8th grade summer reading list that I haven't read is Orphan Monster Spy by Matt Colleen. And it is about a girl in Nazi Germany whose mother was like a spy / actress, and her mom taught her all of these like acting spy techniques. And so she goes undercover into the like Nazi territory and spies for the Allies. And it sounds so interesting. My best friend teacher last year who did the summer reading videos with me loved this book. She highly recommends it. And I haven't gotten to it yet, so I really need to get to it. I really need to read it and see what I think. I will be doing a vlog style for this one as well. Hopefully it will turn out better than the Renegades video. Next one is another book that was added this year to the 8th grade summer reading list. It's by one of my favorite authors. It's Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. And I love Angie Thomas. She wrote The Hate You Give. A few years back, came out, hugely popular. This is basically like the prequel, I guess you could call it a prequel, to The Hate You Give. It's about Star's dad. And it's about his life growing up as a teen and kind of what led him to the circumstances in The Hate You Give. So really interesting story. This one I'm kind of nervous to read, mainly because a lot of my students have already read it because they saw it. They were like, I want to read that book. And it was hugely popular. It's on the advanced summer reading list. And I had kids in regular classes that were like, I want to read this book. I want to read this book. So I think that it's probably one of the more popular ones besides Scythe. I think Scythe is mostly popular because I really loved it and I couldn't stop talking about it. But Concrete Rose is definitely the one that I haven't read that kids were so excited to read. So I'm really interested in reading this. I love The Hate You Give. I really enjoy Angie Thomas. So I'll be excited to see Concrete Rose and how it goes. Okay. Now, into the books that are not on any summer reading list. They're just books that I pulled off the shelf that have been like screaming my name for me to read them. There's a lot of them. So I'm going to try and go through them as quickly as I can. We're going to start with the two that I've already read / started reading. The first one I started reading right as summer started is Bigger Than a Bread Box. I think I did a unpacking video when I got this book. Another YouTuber teacher that I follow recommended this. I think I originally said it's about a girl who lost her mom. It's not necessarily about losing her mom. It's actually about her parents going through a separation and her dealing with that. But there's this element of like magic involved where she finds this magic box and anything you wish for shows up in the box. But there are consequences involved with that. So I love this book. I'm really excited about it, to talk about it for sure. I'll do another video probably toward the end of the month talking about the books that I read and what I thought about them. But this is a tough read, but it's also a good one. The next book that I'm almost finished with, I'm literally in the middle. Like you can see, I'm like right at the end, not really in the middle, but like at the very, very end of the book, is Monday's Not Coming. I just started this yesterday. This is one of those books where like, it's like I'm torn because like the book is it's so difficult to read. The narrator in this book is definitely an unreliable narrator, but Tiffany Jackson does a really amazing job of setting this book up. And it's confusing, but purposefully confusing, and in a way that it's like written that where you don't want to stop reading. But it's one of those books where it's like, I have to stop reading because I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting mad because I'm like feeling the feelings of the character, but then I have to keep reading because I have to know what happens. Like I can't stop reading it. I literally can't stop reading. I had to stop reading it. I had to stop reading the very end of this book just to film this video, and right after I'm finished filming, I'm gonna finish it. Highly, highly recommend. I'm so glad this is on my summer reading list because this one is incredible. Love this book. The rest of the books that are on my summer reading list, I have not read at all. I've not even started. Some of them were, I added because they were recommended to me recently. And some of them I just thought they were cool. Some of them I got from the Scholastic Book Fair and I'm like, oh, I need to read this because I talked about it in a previous video, so I better follow up on that. Again, this is very ambitious. I'm gonna try and go in like priorities of how I wanna finish them. So the plays and the summer reading list, like the 8th grade summer reading list, those are my priorities. I wanna try and get them done before summer's over, so that way I can share with you my thoughts. The rest of these are just kind of like hopefuls, you know? Like they're on there. I hope to finish them. If I don't, it's okay. Hopefully I'll get to them at some point. First one is one that my students read last year for some of my students read last year for the survival project, and it is H2O by Virginia Bergen. This book is so cool. I am so excited to read this book. So the other books that were on that list that I had read were like Hatchet, Voyage of the Frog, Call It Courage, and The Rule of Three, which are all like survival stories. Rule of Three really fits more into that like apocalypse survival, and this one definitely fits into this apocalypse survival. So it's about this girl who is, you know, like at a party one night when suddenly it starts to rain, except for the rain is acidic and it is killing people. The moment it touches you, it kills you. It's kind of like this frantic fight to like figure out how they're gonna survive, where they're gonna get their drinking water. A lot of the kids really, really loved this book. They were like begging to read it. I'm like so excited to read it. And I love stories like that. Like I love like the apocalypse survival stories. Main character, like, you know, she's alone. She's like trying to find her way back to her family. So it has that element too where she has to kind of figure out how to survive on her own. So really interesting one. This is probably one of my priorities aside from the other summer reading books. This one's gonna be definitely next on the list. Another priority for this summer list here is another Angie Thomas. It's on the come up. This has been on my shelf forever. Again, like I said, I loved The Hate U Give. I love Angie Thomas. So, and I'm definitely reading Concrete Rose. She's a fabulous author and she has such an like magnetic voice that really like pulls you in. So yeah, so I'm excited to read, to kind of like continue on to my Angie Thomas journey and read On the Come Up. Next, this is another kind of priority. I have to read it because the movie's coming out, and I did love the Hunger Games series. It's one of my favorite series when I was younger growing up. So the next book I have to read on my summer reading list is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I've heard mixed things about this book. Mixed reviews. I've heard some students say it's awesome, it's so cool, it brings a whole new like set of circumstances to the world of the Hunger Games. And then I've heard some people that are like not that did not think it was that good, did not think it added anything to the world, and didn't think it was like worth it. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep an open mind. I loved The Hunger Games. I really, really loved that series. I loved the movies that came along with it. And the movie for this book is coming out soon, so I want to read this before the movie comes out so I can compare and see how it is, you know? Okay. The next book on my list is one that I did mention in a previous video from my Scholastic book haul, and that is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This is not the copy that I got at the Scholastic Book Fair. This is another copy that I bought from the bookstore, because this one like literally left my shelf. The moment I made that Scholastic book haul video and put those books out on my shelf, some kid came and took it away from me. I don't think it ever came back, to be honest. I don't know what happened to the book after that, but it's also okay. There's plenty of books to go around. I did get another copy though, just so I could read it because I really loved the premise of it. The next one is Everlost by Neal Shusterman. I have been on a huge Neal Shusterman kick since I read Scythe. I read Dry. I read the whole Scythe series. I read Gleanings, which was the short story on the Scythe series. And I really loved everything I've read by Neal Shusterman. So this is another one of his books. I think it's more of a fantasy. So I don't know too much about it, and I'm going to try and keep it that way. But I am interested to read more Neal Shusterman. I have a whole other set of books on my nightstand that I didn't grab for this video. And there's another Neal Shusterman book in that pile. And now I'm gonna have to go grab them. Hang on just a second. Okay, y'all, I'm really in trouble here because I just realized that my pile of books is growing and not shrinking. So I'm gonna have to be kind of picky with these next few books and if I even plan to get to them. I'm going to not share all of them because some of these I'm just going to keep on my shelf there. There's no way I'm going to get to all of these this summer. There's just no way. Okay, so I did just talk about Neal Shusterman's Everlost. This is one that's definitely on my list. Like I said, I'm hugely into Neal Shusterman. He's like, I'm like so impressed with his writing. He has just this like captivating like way of telling a story that just like keeps me sucked in, and I can't stop reading him. So this one's definitely on my list. The other one that's in the 8th grade curriculum that I haven't read, that I've heard really amazing things about, it's an oldie, apparently. It's been out for a long time. I don't know where I've been, but it's Unwind by Neal Shusterman. And basically this is a sci-fi futuristic one where the premise is that between the ages of 13 and 18, if parents don't want their child anymore, they can have them unwound and basically like not have the kid. So there's like this incentive to get your parents to like you before you turn 13, so that way they don't unwind you. Really creepy premise, but there's a lot of creepy premises in Neal Shusterman's work that I'm like so down for reading. This is one of them. More books on my list for this summer. 2 are by an author we read this year in my 7th grade class, my 7th grade English Language Arts class, and that is Sarah Dara Littman. She wrote Deepfake, which is a book I think that was published perhaps close. It was published around Backlash. We read Backlash, and Sarah Dara Littman wrote that. She also wrote Deepfake. It's about a teenage girl who and dealing with social media sites, especially about like deepfake videos about her on the internet and what happens when they go viral and how her friends see these videos. It seems really interesting. Plus, I really loved Backlash. I mean, who didn't like Backlash? I think it was one of the more popular books that we read this year. And her writing is so interesting. Like, she just tackles these really, really intense topics and like goes to the extreme with them. And one of the others that she just wrote that I put on another one of my videos is Some Kind of Hate. I have to read this book. I've heard so many amazing things about it, and even people in my YouTube comments was like, read this book. You've got to read Some Kind of Hate. Like, it's a good book. The premise of it seems so cool, so crazy. I have to read it. It's about a gamer, and he gets sucked in to this online world that's like hateful and like trying to like get him involved in different kinds of like discrimination and hate seems really interesting, seems really relevant. Another one I definitely am gonna bump up on my priority list here. Okay, and the last one is another oldie. I see it on so many people's bookshelves and I'm like, dang, I gotta read that book. It looks so cool. I've had so many friends recommend this book to me, and that is Illuminae, I think is how you pronounce it, by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. The thing I love most about this book is that it's one of my favorite styles of writing, and that is ergodic. And if you don't know what ergodic literature is, it's basically it's like literature or stories that are written in like different formats. You know, some of it's like a story, some of it's like a screenplay, some of it's like letters. I have a whole set of books that I like just love reading because they're considered ergodic. And I have like 2 on my shelf right now that I haven't read. And this is, I guess, three on my shelf that I haven't read, but I'm so into them. I probably would make a whole other video about ergodic literature because it's probably the most fun time reading that I've ever had, because it's like non-traditional reading, you know, like you're reading like in a different way than just like reading a novel, you know? So this is one that's definitely on my list. I have to read it. It's old. It's been around for a long time. And I don't know why I haven't read it yet, because so many people have recommended it to me. So again, on my summer reading list, I'm getting to it this summer. I have to. Okay, I do have several other books on my shelf, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't plan on getting to them this summer. They look really fun, but I'm just going to keep them down for maybe fall or winter or next year. We'll see. That is all of the books that I plan to read this summer. It's a lot. It's ambitious. But I've read 180 books in a year before, and I think I can do it again. So we'll see. We will see. I think these are all great picks for the summer. Like I said, I'm going to try and get to the plays and the 8th grade summer reading books so I can make videos about those before I go on vacation in July. And yeah, thanks for sticking around while I talk to you about all the books I'm excited about reading. And I hope you read some this summer too, because reading is fun. Believe it or not, like you can escape to a whole other world when you read. And summer is the time to do that. You know, like you got road trips, you got maybe plane flights, you got days by the pool, you know, you can sit and read, listen to an audiobook. Oh, speaking of, I do have one audiobook that I'm listening to right now that I plan to hopefully finish this summer. And it's it's not a YA book, it's not a kid's book, it's an adult book, definitely. It's a nonfiction. It's called Punished by Rewards by Alfie Kohn, one of my YouTubers that I follow, who's a teacher and a book reader. She talked about it last year in one of her videos, and I was really like into the idea. I was like, oh, this is a really cool idea, like the whole concept of like reward systems and incentives and how maybe they're not necessarily as effective as we think they are. And I started talking about it with my family, and they were just like really skeptical. They were like, no, how could people want money, you know, people want incentives, they want to be rewarded for a job well done. And I just thought, you know, like I need to back up this conversation with some actual knowledge. So I'm reading it. I'm like very early on in the book. I've got like chapter 3, but it's good so far. It's got a lot of interesting concepts and maybe some stuff that I can take into the classroom as well. And yeah, hopefully with the help of audiobooks and ebooks and time, I can get through this massive pile of to be read. And maybe then I will start to feel a little bit better about myself and my reading habits. Maybe. If not, it's okay. I still want to play some video games this summer. I still want to do some other stuff that does not involve books and reading. So we'll see how it goes. You know, it's ambitious. I know it's ambitious, but I also know that I can't be too hard on myself if I don't get through all of them. You know, my main goal is just to read some fun books this summer and just enjoy myself. So if you have any thoughts about some of these books, maybe some more that I should prioritize over others, let me know down in the comments. Check out my summer reading stream that should be starting soon. And yeah, I will see you in class. Bye!